Hi, this is a brief demo of a tool to automatically generate the tags.json file which is required as an input by our AR-SCADA and RM-SCADA modules, add-on modules to Ignition from the Ignition database automatically. Right now, this JSON file has to be created manually, which is cumbersome. So we'll just have a look at how the AR-SCADA module looks like. So basically Ignition is running and then this module integrates with Ignition through the WebDev module, and this is the main menu of the AR-SCADA, and this gives you a 3D interface so you can navigate into the system, different systems of the plant. So the plant is divided into various subsystems, and each subsystem can have multiple virtual tours. This is the floor plan. It has got two virtual tours. It can have any number of virtual tours, and this is how you navigate into the virtual tour and browse through and take a virtual tour. And these are the system parameters. Now these are the tags that are it is acquiring from Ignition, uh, and it's displaying, and then you can uh, navigate up and then go to the next virtual tour within this subsystem, and again navigate through the, and then there are different components that display the Ignition parameters, scale and meter, um, and a table, things like that. So this is basic idea behind the AR-SCADA module. Now to integrate this AR-SCADA with Ignition, what you need is a tags.txt file. This is JSON file where you define all the tags from Ignition database that are going to appear in one of the virtual tour, one of the systems. So a system, as you know, can have multiple virtual tours, and each system, what are the different Ignition parameter that you're going to display. One of these can be displayed on any of those components. So they are listed here, and they are to be manually created. So we'll see the format for this. And basically, it's an array of JSON objects. Each tag is one component, one object, which has properties like name, which is the path name, and what's the type, if it's a float or int or boolean, and what's the definition, like boiler pressure or steam pressure, and what are the units of that parameter, and what is the field width for display, how many characters, how many decimal points, and what are the alarm points. It can be greater than 75, greater than 80, less than 20, less than 10. So these are the alarm limits. We'll see the format for this separately. But right now, this data has to be created manually. We have to extract, we have to look at each tag individually and write this into a file called whatever name you want to give. So each system will have one tags.txt file. Another system could have another file which lists another set of Ignition parameters. And then these tags, these are used in the XML file which um, which binds the tags with the components. Now this process is right now manual. Now we have tried to generate a tool now which automatically creates the tags file, and which you can rename it and then use it. So this is a manual process. It's not automatically, it will not pick up. So we have to, it's a two-step process. So basically the ARS folder, once you Once you install the AR-SCADA or RM-SCADA modules, download from the Ignition Exchange and install it on the, extract it on the C colon as given in the procedures in other videos. So it will have this file structure. Now we have added these two new files. These are basically uh, the scripts that you have to copy. So we'll just see how the yeah, we have to open the designer and this is the ignition designer. So here you have to uh, create a gateway event script, and basically with this you create a script called whatever name you want to give, and then bind it with a tag. You can define a new tag here. This is the tag, boolean tag we have defined, so we bind it with that. So when we uh, set it to true, this ignition script will execute. Remember to just disable these two options only on value change. Uh, and then in the script, basically you have to copy this uh, yeah, this is the script. We have to copy this and uh, paste it here. So this is what we have done. So this is the script that will basically generate the tags.json file from a given list of uh, tags that you are going to uh, use it for that particular system. So that here in this file you have to give the tag paths. These are any ignition atomic tags. They could be lying in any of the tag provider or any folder. So you have to give the complete path and list it in this file called tagpaths.txt. And now you have to uh, set this flag to true to run this text, run this script. Moment I see click here, it will execute the script, and in the ARS folder it will create two, sorry, let me run it again. Yeah, so it produces these two files. One is the tags pretty.json.txt. So basically all the tags that you have defined in the tag path file, in this file, uh, the script browses in the ignition database and generates this JSON file. So this is easier to read. It's all the alarm limits and all the definition and all the properties that are required by the AR-SCADA module as well as the RM-SCADA module, like what's the type and what's the definition and what are the units and what are the alarm conditions. So everything is generated in this file, and which can be now input into the AR-SCADA module. And this is a compact version of the same file, because if you give this as an input to the AR-SCADA, the file will be more optimized for reading purposes. The file size is quite small. So these files you have to rename to tags.txt or whatever name you want to give for each system. As I mentioned, this is one system, it can have multiple virtual tour. So per system you can have one JSON file, and each one can be different, and their names have to be different. So you can use this tool to create uh, the tags JSON input file that is required by AR-SCADA, or the RM-SCADA, that is the remote SCADA. So we are not going to see the demo of that. So that's all, that's what this tool basically does. So just a few points about uh, yeah, the tags.json file format. So as I mentioned, it's basically one array of JSON objects. Each tag is one JSON object, and the format for that is there's a was the name of that is the complete path name of the tag that you're going to use, and this should be atomic tag. And what is the type? It could be float or int or boolean. Only three types are supported. And what's the definition? And then what are the units? Now this information is already there in the ignition database, but this was to be given manually. Now this tool is basically trying to extract from ignition database and generate it automatically. And the field width, these are default values for float. It's assumed that it's 10 characters long and 2 decimal points. It can be edited while placing the component, but this is default setting. And conditions is basically the alarm. So each tag can have up to 10 condition. The first condition is another JSON array, and uh, the first entry here, first object, tells what the condition number 0, where the label of that alarm or the tag status is normal, and there is no condition for that is greater, lesser, or anything like that. And the second object is when the tag is in state 1, so condition is greater than, and the limit is 75. The value of the tag is, if it exceeds 75, it will be called in state 1, and it will be, its label will be termed high. And the third condition is greater than 80 and label very high, and then low limits. So you can define up to 10 such state for each. And then this is a field, this is another JSON array which defines this particular tag exists in which AR-SCADA's virtual tour. So this is the name of the virtual tour or scene, and what is the hotspot name. It's appearing in a bar chart or it's appearing in a table. Each component is given a unique name, so that component name has to be written here. So this is another data. It could appear in another scene, so you have to give this tag appears in what scenes of this particular system. So this is basically the format. The same thing repeats for the second tag, and remember that this can be only atomic tags. You cannot have utilities or arrays. So this is the definition of the format of the JSON file. And some of the salient points of this version is that this version right now is only works on Ignition 8 because it uses this script which is not available in 7.9. but a separate script will be created in for 7.9 using some different um, scripting function. So this one point, and then tag database is basically a single array of JSON object, as mentioned earlier. It's not tree structure, although you might have given the names as the complete um, tag provider and folders slash the complete structure, but that is a single name as far as this AR-SCADA is concerned. Each of the string is just a name. It's not really a tree structure. So it's a single array, and only atomic tags are supported and others are ignored. So if you put some tags which are UDTs or arrays in the tag path file to be processed input, then those will be ignored. If the data type is not atomic, they will be ignored. And another thing is point to remember is that in AR-SCADA or RM-SCADA, a tag can remain in one state only. I don't know how ignition works, whether you can have multiple tags associated with multiple alarms with a tag or uh, not, I don't know, but here we have each tag can be in only one state. It could be either normal or high or very high or very high or whatever, similarly low or uh, very low. So it could be only one condition. I mean, a tag cannot remain in two states. So these states have to be mutually exclusive. That is why the sequence also is important. So this is for the analog tags, and for Boolean, it can have value true or false, and for integers, it can be a multi-state indicator type of up to 10 states you can define. And another point is that um, the tag conditions can be only defined as greater than or less than or equal to in case of it is integer, you can have equal to. And other conditions, if ignition supports something like between two set points or not equal to a set points, these conditions are uh, not handled by AR-SCADA, the tags JSON file. So if your tags in ignition have these conditions, they will be skipped and you have to be careful. The script may fail. So that's why it's a two-step process. First you generate a tag file and then go through it properly and then use it in the input. And a tag can have maximum 10 states as mentioned earlier. And the description, the tag documentation, uh, that is basically what we are calling as definition, the boiler pressure, or its equivalent in ignition is the I think documentation for the tag property. Now this is truncated to 40 characters maximum. So this tools basically works based on these principles. So you have to be careful. It tries to automate the whole process, but it may fail in some condition which is not handled as defined here. So I think that's all about this tool, and yeah. So this tool hopefully will help you to automate to generate uh, the, the tags database required by the AR-SCADA and RM-SCADA modules, our modules, that's modules that we developed. Uh, Developed by Pramaj Technologies. So we stick to this format, and this is also Same format is used in our NJ-SCADA and any other modules. So it's a simplified database, but it meets most of the requirements. So thank you for watching. I hope the tool will be useful for if you're using the AR-SCADA and RM-SCADA of any of our modules. Thanks a lot for your watching.